I don't have good lighting in here.
You ruined it. Thank you.
That
I
was
can't see you
perfect.
anyways.
That was perfect.
Oh, and this is how we start. All right. Hi, I'm Jason, your Gen X host.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm your millennial host.
And I'm James, your Gen Z host.
Welcome to Generations Unveiled. Okay, so out of all the things that we could be discussing, today's subject is a subject that I guess, James and I have talked about before in a limited way. We had talked about AI in general and some of the wacky things that you could do with it, and some of the things that at the time were very kind of controversial about um, AI, like how when you did a search for like the founding fathers, specifically with Google's, I believe it was Google's AI, or it might have been Microsoft's AI, probably Microsoft's. The founding fathers were all black. Okay, they wanted a picture of the founding fathers, and it gave you a picture of the founding fathers, and they were all black. But that's not how it was. It was the algorithm was set up to try to be inclusive of everything, but not factual. So it brought up some really big questions about AI in general, whether it could be trusted or not, especially for if you're looking for fact-based information. And you still got to worry about those kind of things, at least a little bit. However, the discussion on AI today, which was brought up by Derek, is a little bit different. It's more towards the productivity aspect of AI and how it can be useful, whether it's in your personal life
Or harmful.
or harmful. It still could be harmful, but whether it could be useful in your personal or professional life, and yeah, it could definitely be harmful. I mean, you put any tool in someone's hand that um, has malicious intent, and I don't care what it is, it could be used for harm. Okay, no different. Say okay, like what? You put a banana in someone that has malicious intent. How could that be harmful? They inject it with poison and they feed it to one of your kids. That's how it can be harmful. So yes, they had malicious intent. However, when you go to
We're
a
not going
store,
to ban bananas.
yeah, they're not banning bananas. But at the same time, when you go to the store, your intent is good. So the intent is there for this kind of stuff. So AI, what's your guys' thoughts on some of that AI? Now, in general, you said you were talking about AI and AI automation. What were you
Automation.
what were you what were you thinking when you had brought that up?
Yeah, so how many times have we heard, well, this has been outsourced or we're getting it through somewhere else. It's not done locally, it's not done here, right? We're sending a lot of things out. And I started looking into it, and China has what they call dark factories or ghost factories, where all the humans have completely been replaced with AI humanoids, which take their marching orders also from AI, right? So it's all run. It's a completely automated system with very minimal human interference, right? You have to have humans in there at some point to oversee certain things. However, due to being able to track everything on camera and run the program's algorithm and everything. They can see if there's any mistakes. They can see if there's any mistakes, so on and so forth. But so what China did was they found that it was cheaper rather than to pay humans to work in these factories. They went to these complete AI factories, which now operate 24/7, right? You don't have to pay vacation time. You don't have to pay maternity leave. You don't have to worry about mental health days. You don't have to worry about this, that, the other thing. It's just all AI. It's humanoids, and it's running the entire factory. And they're developing EV, they're developing our smartphones, they're developing the phones, the microchips, all that. 100% with AI. And the arguments for it, right, are that it's cutting down on errors, you're able to work 24/7, there's no lull in productivity, you can just produce. As long as you have materials, you can produce, right? Is ultimately the thing behind it. And then because it's China, there's not a whole ton of information on it where you can really see like, okay, where what safety steps are included or where's the human oversight or how is it, like whatever. But these ghost factories, there are a ton, and they're making more and more and more and more and more. So now you go back over here to the good old US of A, and they're looking at it and going, 24/7, I don't have to worry about maternity leave, I don't have to worry about vacations, I don't have to worry about this, I don't have to worry about that. Should we do it? It like it how else are we gonna compete, right? Because they're able to run 24/7 all the time. And it just brings up a lot of things where, how many people would be out of a job? Right? If we let AI completely take over, and that's where I'm having trouble finding the data in China, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about it and just kind of brain source it and just talk it out, is that, what happened to all the workers who that was their livelihood, that was how they provided for their family, that's how they were going to retire, that's how they were going to do all these things, but then they were replaced with AI. Do they go to a different manufacturing job? And then how long until they get replaced there, right? So, like, if your skill set is in that industry and they replace you with robots because they don't need a break, they don't smoke cigarettes, they don't need lunch, they don't need time off, they don't need my daughter's getting married, I need a week off, they don't have maternity leave. How do you compete with that? So if
Well,
we
and
start doing that here in America, like how is that going to affect our economy and what are all those workers going to do instead?
so my background is in manufacturing, and I can tell you that automation has been going on since I've been in manufacturing. I started when I was 22. Been in manufacturing for 30 years. They had it back then. Not fully automated shops, but they would have a line where a robot would pick up a piece of steel, put it into the machine. The machine itself was able to machine one part. It would open up, robot come back in, change it to another chuck, close it, and load another piece, and it would keep on going 24/7. And that was over 30 years ago. So it's always been around. Now, has it been with AI? No, the robots had to be programmed. Did the robots have to, if something went wrong, like cooling or something like that, the tooling itself had to be, someone had to go there, regardless of when it was, and retool the machine or shut it down for maintenance. And there's always going to be a, right as of right now, there's always going to be some form of human um, interaction. The machines can't fix themselves. As a matter of fact, they can't even make themselves. Not yet. You know,
Not yet.
so so we're the ones who have to make them. We have to service them. We have to do things like this, things like that. It's kind of like those fully automated McDonald's. You know, something goes wrong.
Mhm.
Something goes wrong, and you got to have a human to go in there and fix it. So humans, we are always going to play a role to a certain point, to a certain extent. For how long? Who knows?
Who
That's
knows?
that is a question that can pop up. But like I said, I've been in manufacturing for over 30 years, and you know, where I'm working out, we have a robot as well. It loads the machine does the work, it unloads the machine, puts it away. However, in order to make the process streamlined and make the robot move better, quicker, faster, we have to reprogram it. We have to service it. We have to do all these different things to it in order to make it more efficient. So
Right. Which
we do play a role. It's just different. Matter of fact,
which
it's a
which
little bit
would
more specific.
yeah. So basically, you'd be creating more jobs for technical people,
Yes.
for people with that experience. But I can say, like, to bring this back to a personal level, and I'm not sure how many viewers we have, but for anyone out there watching us, I can say that I have worked for Jason in his shop, and sometimes the money that I earned during that couple days was the difference between being able to pay a bill and not pay a bill. And some of the things that I did there was there we had these long bars of aluminum, and you would slide it up. You would set a blocker, and you would slide it up to the block, and then once it was in there, you with your foot you would depress it, and then the machine would come down and stamp it into the form that it needed to be, and it would cut it, and then you would slide it forward right up to the block again, and you would do it again and again and again and again and again and again. And could a robot do that? Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but that job kept me putting food on the table, saving up to buy my house, being able to get a car, being able to get my license back, and doing all these things. I program the machine to do that? No, I couldn't. So that job's out of my skill set. But I was able to do what needed to be done. I could slide it forward, press it, stamp it, collect it, stack them, do all the stuff that needed to be done, and be able to get to earn some money and a paycheck. And I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there like that, where they may not be computer literate and be programmers. And then we start taking away these jobs. What, so how, what do we do? Do we throw them on welfare?
Well, I think this is where does this is this a discussion about AI and AI automation, or is it truly one of education? How are we educating our younger generation as they grow up? Because right now, I could tell you, what's really the use of high school if you're not teaching them the new trades going forward. You're preparing them for college, where maybe college isn't the answer. Maybe college is, you know, for maybe engineering or doctors. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what college is for doctors, and maybe not people that uh, uh, for like arts and for the arts and stuff like that. And maybe we don't. Maybe it's time to get rid of most colleges because the way things are going, automation is here. It's here to stay, and it's only going to get more sophisticated. Yes, it's going to take away jobs. Yes, it's going to continue to take. It took away jobs. It's going to continue to take away jobs, and it's going to take away the lower skilled workers' jobs. That's what automation does. It automates the mundane, easy things that anybody can do. Since anybody can do it, guess what? So can a robot. However, that and I guess this is just my thinking is why I'm going back to education is we need to change the way we teach to bring people up that way. It's like you're like all the like I've heard teachers on shorts and stuff like that. They're complaining that the kids are using AI to do their homework. Yeah, of course. Why not? And you say, well, they're not being. You can teach kids how to think differently. Okay, while they're in, teach them to utilize everything at their fingertips. Nothing. It doesn't all have to be memorization and that crap. Memorization has its place, but maybe its place is different now.
That's one thing I've never understood is like, especially in like math classes or things like that, they want you to do it with your head and not with a calculator. Well, in the real world, they're not going to tell me to do it with my damn head. They're going to tell me to use the calculator. So like the same principle applies, It's like why wouldn't you use a little bit of AI? We're going to a world where AI tools are going to be a norm. I mean, you look at video editing, music now, even music tool. There are music AI tools. Auto-tune is a form of
Yeah,
AI.
yeah.
What do you call it? Video editors now are holding like things that can cut out like dead space in videos or filler words. They'll cut out filler words or automatically put up captions for your entire video. I mean, and we're getting a little upset over AI solving things. I mean, and at the end of the day, even if you make them do with a calculator or writing it down, once they leave, they're still going to use AI.
So,
Well,
so here's my thing, and I'm hoping my video doesn't cut out because it seems like anytime we get passionate about something, it it's like, hold up, we're going too hard. But okay, so I have a unique perspective. So for anyone who doesn't know, I am a trainer for a company called VXI, and they're global. And I assist with the Philippines, India, Guatemala, Jamaica, US. I deal with 12 different lines of business, ranging from healthcare to Toyota to Hertz. And here's the thing. I can I can train someone how to use a tool, and if the tool makes it easier and does the job for them, that's fine. But they have to understand the why behind it, right? We still
absolutely.
have to understand the why, because if we don't understand the why, then ultimately you just got a bunch of idiots, right? And it
True.
happens to over and over and all the time with all the classes where they're like, well, I asked the thing and it didn't give me right. You have to be able to think critically, and I think that's part of where, like, even with math and stuff like that, like where that comes into place still in school is you have to understand the concept, right? And then once you understand the concept, then can you use AI? Sure. Yeah. Right. Let's cut out the mundane, but you have to get to a certain level of understanding.
Yeah, I can
Otherwise,
agree with that.
when it doesn't work, then how can you think critically and be like, wait, these numbers aren't making sense? I put my data in and it's telling me this. This doesn't seem right. But then you can't think critically and think like, oh, yeah, it's not accounting for this, or we're not doing this or that, right? So there has to be a base level of understanding. Um, and I
In
can't
my
tell you how many like resignation letters and things like that I've gotten that are just all AI generated. Um, yeah, and there you can tell. Uh, it'll get
there's
better,
definitely,
but
but
you can
the
tell.
thing is like when for schooling in general though, they're more they gear more towards the correct answer than they are how you got there. Okay. They don't care how you got to your answer. They only care how you get to the correct answer. That's in my view, that's the problem. Because what if your answer is wrong? Okay, you may have the wrong answer. Why isn't that okay? Why don't you figure out how we got there? And then, okay, this is okay. So you followed this line of thinking, but this is where you went wrong.
Yeah,
Okay, and because of this right here, that's why you got this and not that. So let's work on that. But put more emphasis on how you got there than just the answer alone. And that's to me that's what I see. That's all they care about is the right answer. We want the right answer. Don't care how you get there. It's like, but that's technically math. That's what math is. Math is trying to teach you
you're right or
criti
wrong. Yeah.
well, it's meant to try to make you think critically about the numbers. Okay, basic math. 1 plus 1 is 2. I mean, basic math is some of that stuff, memorization, and I get it. Um, but when you get to more complex things, maybe it's more about the journey than it is the destination. So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's where it all ties back into the whole automation thing as well. Is like, would it be useful? Yeah, like I'm not arguing that it wouldn't be useful, but at the same time, are we considering all aspects? Which is, okay, there we all have different levels of understanding. Jason, for example, I can't count on my hands. Well, not on two. I might have to use my toes. But how many times you've helped me with taking something apart and putting it back together? Because that's not my strong suit, right? Like
yeah,
it's
sure.
not. That's not where I excel. Now I excel in all kinds of areas, but that's not one of them, right? For me, I struggle with that. And then once I learn it, okay, now I know it. Now I can do it. But I there are a lot of people that I don't want to say are uneducated because I think that that's really the wrong word, but it's just there are a lot of
Is it though?
people of different capabilities where maybe they could slide the aluminum up to the place where it stops and press a pedal with their foot and do that over and over again, but they couldn't handle talking to people or dealing with you know, different things. So it's just like, yes, for one aspect of it, yeah, productivity would go up, costs would come down, things like that, right? With automation and with AI. But on the other end, what are we going to do with a lot of people that was all they know how to do?
And that's once again that to me that goes back down to education. Getting
Mm,
educating people in some way, shape, or form, and how and what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, look at STEM programs out there. I've seen them come and seen them go, and they are becoming more prevalent now these days. It just depends on what administration seems to be in in uh in power these days for some reason, where we put our emphasis on. Um, but
I've
here's a few things. Think about like electricians, electronics. Okay, machines have have these things, have you have or even construction. Maybe some of these people, I guess you may not be able to critically think, but you know what, you can help tow bricks. Maybe
to
you've
dig a
got it,
ditch.
maybe, or
Mhm.
dig a ditch. Maybe you have to go into manual labor, and maybe you find that that manual labor portion of it somehow suits you, and because it does, you can critically think about it. Because if you ever notice that everybody has an interest, and when they have an interest in something, they tend to remember everything about it. You got people that can talk about cars all day long, everything about them. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't want to fix my car. I can, and I have to sometimes because, frankly, I can't afford to send it to a guy who can. So I'm going to do. I have that mechanical ability. I don't like working on cars. I do it out of necessity. Therefore, I really don't give a shit what all these other cars. I think Camaro looks cool. Maybe a Dodge Viper. Those were always cool back in the day. But do I really give a shit how much horsepower? No, I'm not a motorhead like that. But those guys who are, they thrive in that area, and they could do all types of shit with those cars that I'll never be able to do. So yeah, there's a need for a mechanic. Mechanics, plumbers, um, electricians. A lot of these trades, need people that can do them. And maybe that's where the type of person who is not maybe a more cerebral type of person thinks can go into that. Because I tell you right now, there's electricians out there making six figures, easy. Six figures.
Yeah.
You get plumbers out there easily making six figures. Okay, and what I'm talking about is you get these young guys that come straight out of trade school. Okay, they're working their job, they're working overtime, they're making 75, 80,000 a year, right there. You're talking about a kid who's what, 20? He's
Mhm.
making bank. That is bank making right. And if he was to save his money, okay, turn around, maybe decide to start his own business. You know, it, Go ahead. I mean, I'm just saying, these are the
That's
things
how
that
it works.
even
Yeah.
young kids or young guys are doing. Things that I never did. Well, I was a order picker when I was freaking 20, doing, the job that, well, nowadays they have machines doing. Machine comes up, automatically knows where everything is inside the warehouse, pulls it, puts it in a little basket, puts it on a skid, whatever, and it drives itself all the way to wherever it needs to be, dumps it. Yeah, I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon has a lot of automation doing stuff like that, not just people.
Mhm.
So yeah, automation is going to take away some jobs. It's going to take away the jobs that don't take a lot of critical thinking. You know,
And honestly, if I think about it too, I'd be willing to bet that you're gonna see a shift in education again, because we already had one huge shift, right? Where we're like, hey, you want a degree on 1680 to 1820 medieval history
yeah,
in the Mesopotamia area, right? And I'm just making words out just to emphasize my point, right? And we did that, right? We did that. We opened up the fucking doors for everybody. We
yep.
said, let's do it. You want to teach people how to play a guitar using crayons? Yeah, we got a class for that. Come in, we'll give you a degree. And we did, and we charged people out the ass for it. Not say we, but it wasn't me, but right,
It was
they
our
charged
education system.
they charged them and they put these stupid classes on, and then they were like, turns out a lot of people don't really have an interest in a guy that knew 1620 to 1840 Mesopotamia history, right? What am I
Exa-
supposed to do now? I'm not getting a lot of crayon guitar pickers. signing up for my classes. Like, what do I do now? Right? But we did. We offered it. We changed with the times. We opened up all these things. And then we were like, that was stupid. And I think a lot of people realize that was stupid. And you hear the younger generation, James, probably even younger than yours, like you're right on that bubble.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a lot of them who are like, why would I put myself in debt for a job that I can't do anything with? And
Yeah,
I
give yourself an education that doesn't actually translate to supporting yourself in any way, shape, or form.
so I think we're gonna see a big change in how they do it. We're probably gonna see a lot more like I don't want to say electronics because that's the wrong word, but you're gonna see a lot of programming, I guess might be the best term for it. A lot of learning how to code, learning how to program, and those courses becoming bigger and and
Actually,
really kind of the
actually,
go-to.
actually, right now they just go to AI for programming and all that. That was big, by the way. Programming, all those type of things at one point in time. But just recent since AI hit all those jobs, that yeah, they're being replaced by AI because AI can do it faster, way faster. So you could get something coded easily. Um, so yeah, AI is taking away those jobs. But when you talk about electronics, yeah, because the data. Think about it, all the data centers, okay, that are going in. All those data centers, someone's got to build them. Someone's got to wire them up. Like it's going to be a lot of the way I look at it. It's just going to be a lot of physical labor jobs. Those are the ones that are going to be more available. They're going to be ones that are going to be more profitable for people to go in because there's such a labor shortage there that you just can't. They just can't find anybody. And even with manufacturing, I mean, because we put such an emphasis back in the day about getting a college degree, there are so many, for the last 30 years, you know, that there's a shortage of people that can actually do manufacturing jobs because they're still out there. They're still, and matter of fact, because of Trump's tariffs, a lot of that manufacturing has come back, and and manufacturers are just getting buried with work because it's one, because of the tariffs, it's cheaper to keep all those jobs here in the United States. And the thing is we have a major labor shortage now. That goes back to those people who can't think critically. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people that because of that's the way they were brought up through the education system. As we progress through this and we put a more emphasis on skilled labor, manual labor stuff type jobs, bringing back machine shop days in high school, carpentry in high school, maybe even electronics in high school, bringing all that stuff back in high school. Kids out of high school would be able to end up, working for, construction, building houses, or even data centers at that point, and um, start making money right out of a high school, not have to go to college, or maybe go into a technical degree somehow just because they want to be higher up the food chain, you know, and stuff like that. That's the way I perceive or things are happening. That's where we got. This is where it's a where's Mike Rowe when you need him? Where's
Dirty
Mike Rowe when you
jobs.
dirty jobs guy? Where's he when you need? Because he can go off on this like there is no tomorrow. I can tell you that. I mean, if you want to know about labor shortages and stuff like that, especially in the trades, he's the guy who knows. He knows a lot, and he's doing. I forget what his he's got a foundation on it. Is it the Mike Rowe Foundation or Rowe Works or Works Foundation? I forget what it is, but yeah, he tries to help with scholarships to build up the trades, and he works with companies, so, um, yeah, I think that's where it's really at. So how's things like, I know you work for somewhat of a manufacturer type, James. How is it over there? Like, you guys busy? I mean, but you guys don't, you're not doing steel work. You do like,
No.
you actually guys do specialty stuff, right? Like custom work.
It kind of it's solid surface based. Um,
What is it that like, it's not cabinets, but,
uh, like marble, granite.
stuff. Okay.
Um, yeah, solid surface is a bit different from granite, but similar boat.
Okay. But, they take you in, they teach you how to do it, and, but it's not like they can find someone just off the street to just come in and do it.
Right. Yeah.
They have to be taught. It's a skill. And what you're doing is, it may be labor, but it's also a skill. You're learning something. You're learning a skill that, you know, that type of work, if someone else was doing that type of work, you could actually translate your skill to them. So,
Yep.
but with with automation, really,
100%.
you know, AI and automation. I was thinking AI and automation, because I know James and I had a little bit of a discussion, before you popped on. Um, I was thinking more like take having AI integrated into the apps that I use, and being able to, say, come up with some kind of cost projection and have it do it for, quarterly, something that I wouldn't have to review everything. The AI could actually review it for me and spit out the numbers, so that I could be like, okay, this is done. This is what I could do, and then, help me write a report and present that in a way that, you know my boss would want to see it. That's what I'm
So
thinking when I think of AI and automation. I'm thinking more of that for, and taking that, where that would take away some of the jobs for people, because why would you need so many so many more people? And I had said this before to
period.
James, where AI really isn't going to take right now. AI is not going to really take your job. It's not going to take your job. A person that knows how to use AI is going to take your job. That's how it's going to go. At least right now. That's the way I'm looking at it and how things are. If you don't start to use and learn AI, you will be replaced by someone who does.
That's a fair point. And just so you know, they do have AI out there like that right now. So I'm not sure what your company uses. Mine uses Microsoft. And one thing that I just found out recently is we send out these surveys to the agents where it part of it is they have to respond with text, like they have to put text in. So it will say like, what is so and so do to make you want to come to work? So you're required to type out an answer. And then some of it's rate on this skill level on how you feel 1 to 5. And
Yeah,
then there's additional
typical.
comments. Just normal stuff.
Yeah, I get
I
those too.
found I found you can take that and put it in Microsoft Copilot, and you can say, summarize the strengths and the areas of opportunities, and drop the whole file in there. And within 5 seconds, it
Yep.
gives you an answer. And after reviewing 10 of them in a row that it did, it's pretty spot on. I gotta say it's pretty accurate.
If you like
So,
Copilot, try Claude.
Claude,
Claude, try it.
it, I
It
I'll have to
it's
do
wild.
that on a personal side,
Yeah, I was
not
gonna
on
say
the
try it on a
business
personal
side,
side.
but yeah.
It wants to integrate all your apps, all your software, so that if you want to ask it a question and you want to ask it a question like that, you can dump. Okay, so eh, so say like you have um you've already, I don't know how long you've been there, but you've had reviews, and your reviews, you get that review piece of paper. You could take all your reviews, dump it in there, ask it any question you want about your reviews, your strength, your weaknesses, what you should be working on according to what the review says, and it'll just
Oh
done
yeah.
and tell you.
Yep.
And you just dump it all in there, and throughout the whole entire thing. So if you want to ask it other questions about that kind of stuff, it will uh, it will refer back. It'll refer back to the very first one. Well, you were doing about, it is a wild little program. And to go further, put on your headphones and talk as you and I and James are here talking. Just as soon as you stop, it'll start talking to you. You don't even have to prompt
That's
it. You don't.
crazy.
You don't. It's hands free. So yeah, it's kind of wild, and it's kind of neat too because I hate typing. Uh, all I have to do is keep on talking. It does get a little quirky because if it assumes sometimes that your pause means you're done speaking, and it's like, and then it wants to start to talk. It's like, shit, damn it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a wild subject. I mean, there are so many positives to it, but I feel like the positives come from someone who who's not at risk of having this destroy their livelihood, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, you could say that. Um, Once again, that I just say it goes back to
They,
education.
yeah.
Our
Oh,
system,
I mean,
our education
the
system right now is not set up to train people f- for this.
the right one.
Um,
Yeah.
and every time it starts to be, it's already behind.
Hmm.
We should have already, once we knew AI was going to start doing this. We knew it was going to start doing this. Things should have been just rolling. Okay, push it, start pushing this education because we need it now. Because there's always going to be a lag somewhere in between everything. You're always going to have a group of people that are going to get left behind because they didn't get it. They didn't get that education. Okay, so there's going to be a group of people that aren't, and then it becomes up to them to educate themselves.
Right. I mean, like, and for this statement I'm gonna make here, I feel like such a hypocrite for, but like, even talking about like grocery stores, when they started introducing those self-checkouts, yeah, there's one person who monitors it, maybe two, but they're monitoring
12 of
10
them.
or 12. Yeah, right? They're not just at one, so we're taking away cashiers. But at the
Well,
same time, when I go into Walmart, I guarantee you I'm not going into the line where there's a cashier there to scan me and bag me and ring me out. I'm going to the self-checkout. But I think a lot of that has to do with my own OCD because I put things in bags the way I need them to be when I get home. All this stuff goes together on this shelf, it's going in this bag. All this stuff goes right. They don't do that. So for me, it's kind of like that. But at the same time, like, yeah, did we lose jobs? Yeah, we
yeah.
lost quite a few where we could have had younger people working and we could have had someone on a register helping out, right?
Well,
But I
so
do
part of
enjoy the
that is
benefit
because
of
of
it.
you got to think about it. Part of that is because minimum wage. Okay, some people say, well, you know, minimum wage should be a living wage. No, it shouldn't be. Minimum wage should be whatever that company's willing to pay you. And if it's $5 an hour, then it's $5 an hour. Because if someone really wants a job, they'll take a job at $5 an hour. Okay. If you need something, you will take it at $5 an hour. And maybe that's what that job truly is worth, $5 an hour. And then you find out that no, you should be getting, someone said, well, you should be getting at least $15 an hour. For what? What skill are you bringing that company when you have nothing? Okay.
Right.
So this is what normally happens. Okay. Okay. We're going to start you out at $5 an hour. Find out, guess what? I don't want it. And you go somewhere else because that guy down the street's going to pay me $8 an hour. Guess what? When you're not getting any employees
Hey,
to start at
handsome.
5, you're gonna end up at $8 an hour because the next guy is going to be paying $8 an hour. It'll automatically rise by itself. But we're so hell bent on trying to make non-skilled work in a livable wage that and those are the people who normally take those jobs are the people that are in that gap. They're in that gap where they didn't learn a trade. They didn't, most of them didn't go to college, so they're in that gap of what do I do? Well, you end up with that's that gap. You end up in those minimum wage type jobs. Unfortunately, it's like, well, that's where you need to educate yourself somehow. Either that
Right.
or there's a lot of places out there that if you go to, especially manufacturing, you know, there's a lot of places that since they need people, yeah, you may start out on the low rung, maybe in shipping and receiving, helping out shipping and receiving or something. Maybe you are just going to be a button pusher. But if you can show promise, not only do you get raises, but they're training you. And then they're training you, in a skill. I
Right.
mean, I didn't go to college, and I sure as hell didn't go to a trade school, but I could run manual machines, CNCs. I could program them, set them up. I've done all that stuff, and you know what? I don't do that anymore. I worked my way. I worked my way up.
Out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
eh, eh,
so if I could do it, anybody can do it.
Right. And that's what it was like at BRT Extrusion, local company that I worked at. Won't say a bad thing about them. They were great for what they were, but I worked overnights, I worked shift work, and my entire job consisted of taking aluminum off of the line and stacking it in the correct way in boxes with a partner till it got to a certain level, then boxing it up, taping it up, and then do another box over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I struggled with it because I just can the physical part wasn't the problem, it was the mental part. I
Mm,
needed to be
yes,
more engaged.
mine
I needed to be
exactly.
more and I was just like,
Yeah,
I can't do this."
yeah. And
And
that's one of the reasons why I moved up is because, if you put me just on a Bridgeport, I would go crazy. So Bridgeport lathe. Okay, now I'm going crazy because those are the only two things. Bridgeport lathe CNC, Bridgeport lathe CNC, Bridgeport lathe CNC programming. I always needed more. And that's where I find myself nowadays. It's like, yeah, I'm up here, but I'm bored as hell.
yeah, you
I'm
gotta
bored as
step
hell.
up.
I need more. I need something more. And it's just not more. I just don't want to do the same thing over and over. It's repetitive. Sometimes it gets too repetitive. Yeah, and that's just me. That's why it's like
Yeah,
after we get done with this, because we've been sitting here, and it's been fun talking. It's been great. This is a good discussion. Get to use my brain. Um, but after this, I'm going for a run. I'm gonna run this energy the fuck right out of me.
yeah, I gotta shave and get everyone packed
Really?
up, ready to come over. Oh, not the beard. The beard don't ever get shaved. No. No, I haven't touched it. I haven't touched my beard. So a lot of people ask about the beard. Just I never cut it. I never trim it. I'm personally of the opinion that if you have a beard, you have a beard. Like it's not an accessory. It just grows how it grows. And I don't touch it. I don't trim it. I don't do anything. I wash it. I clean it. Put some conditioner in it every now and then. But I don't do anything special. But up here, I can't grow hair. I got a little bit. You can see how bad that is. Right?
Just
That's
flip.
what I gotta shave. You can pick all that off.
Just take that and put it on top.
You mount it on top. Oh, I wish I could. Apparently, my hair don't grow up; it grows down.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Sweetness.
What
Okay.
you got planned, James?
What?
I said, what you got planned? Jason's going for a run. I gotta go bick my bald head. What are you doing next?
I'm gonna be editing videos.
Yeah. Before you got on, we were talking about video editing and stuff like that. He's got a gaming channel that he does that is doing way better than this one, but that's beside the point. Anyways, but yeah. So but those are gamers for you. This is a more cerebral type of audience we're going for. Maybe, unless we're just grooming.
Are you trying to say gamers aren't smart?
I didn't say a word.
Do you know how hard some of these puzzles are in these mother...
R1, R2, left, right, up, down, up, down.
Do you know how hard it was to remember those cheat codes?
I don't know.
Especially like the ones for God mode and shit. Oh my god, those were like the really long ones. You'd have to use the D-pad and the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
That's high. That's just not high IQ. That's high eye-hand coordination. That's exactly what.
Hey,
that's exactly what
that skill, right?
So is masturbation.
They'll pay me
right?
somewhere.
Okay.
Did you really just say that?
Hey, anyhow.
Hey, like I said, a skill's a skill.
Skill's a skill.
Anyways, all right. So you go play your game. You go
I'm
shave
just
your
saying,
head.
If a guy can get paid millions to eat hot dogs, I think my hand and eye coordination got a pretty good fucking chance. I'm just saying.
Anyways, guys, I'd call this one a wrap. Hasta la vista, guys. Hasta la vista.